So in the end, when you see a coup happening and ordinary people move onto the street and are happy, jubilating because of that, it tells you something. It's not just a coup that people should look at and say, well, this is the beginning, this is the end. There is that story behind. But there is another question that must be raised. All of these, for example, developed countries who are heavily present in every country on our continent, doing all kinds of things, teaching people democracy, human rights, freedoms. Then in the end, exploiting natural resources of the continent, making a lot of money, whether it is through companies or whatever is taking place. Sometimes countries, are playing their part directly in this exploitation of these natural resources that should have brought wealth to our countries. One would ask, so why are you there for 50 years and you are doing all kinds of things, business, all kinds of transactions? For you, you get better for it, but the people of countries where you are doing it remain impoverished, if not even getting worse. So this is a question that...
Is that to the French? Is that to the Belgians? Is that to the Americans? Is it the Chinese?
All of them, absolutely. Why? Why would you be doing things worth billions, tens of billions of dollars?
Do you think there's a kind of neo-colonialism going on now in Africa?
I think there is just total confusion. From the beginning, I think colonialism never ended, really. It just changed forms. But I can't also blame others just for it. I think we need to take responsibility ourselves as Africans. Why do we accept such a things to happen? Why do we have almost everything and that works to benefit others more than we benefit from them? There are different ways of correcting that. Why don't we do that? Sometimes you may complain or you may blame the exploiter, but even the exploited should be blamed.
Why is the African Union not more effective?
The African Union is not more effective simply because the countries that make up this African Union, ourselves, we have a problem. African Union becomes a reflection of the country's problems as we see every day in each country. There is going to be Western influence, or there's going to be some other influence. But it's going to be minus African influence. So meaning...
So it's a zero sum.
So this is what it looks like. Sounds like, because other people have influence, Africa doesn't have influence. So that means Africa is just there to be influenced by, and then, of course, the fights that go on over the continent, for very obviously for what the continent has. I think my take on that is it should challenge us African leaders and Africans generally. We can't permanently stay in this position of a victim. In the end, by the way, when those powers that have influence, whenever they want, they turn Africa into perpetrators. So on one hand, we're either victims or we are pointed to as perpetrators of different crimes, things like that. To weave in the story of Rwanda, we have to say we are good students of history ourselves. We learn from what has happened to us or what we see happening around us. And given what has happened to us, and at the time we needed anybody's help, it didn't matter who that was. And the West having such a power to really bring to a halt to what was happening in Rwanda, and they didn't. In fact, not only did they not do that, they even doubled up on doing nothing. And also in the background, part of the cause of what happened in Rwanda comes from the West. If you look at the colonial history, and later on, even after when the country got independence, and the different things that happened, irrespective of the presence of the Western influence or countries in Rwanda, tells us the story that, you know what, we've got to really do everything for ourselves and improve our lives and be there to, you know, like any other country or people. And in fact, it is the same mirror image that we have in mind for even the whole continent. Why doesn't the continent say, no, we cannot be like this for this too long? And we need to have interaction with the rest of the world and create that equality that is necessary for any human dignity and society.